What's up everybody, it's Drew Wilkins with Swine and Bovine Barbecue, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make the best chili I've ever had, which is over-the-top chili. So let's get going. So over-the-top chili, it essentially is just cooking chili on a wire rack above a pot with the vegetables that you're putting in the chili. So if you're familiar with Big Green Eggs, I think this was popularized by a Big Green Egg forum. I've got a good buddy back in Arkansas. We lived in Chicago together for a long time that started making this, and I absolutely loved it. And it's become my favorite way to eat chili. I posted a short video on my Instagram recently about it and had a lot of questions. So since I'm starting this YouTube channel, I figured it'd be best to just make a YouTube video out of it. So starting off here, I've got a orange bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, and red bell pepper. We're gonna core these out, dice them up. I'll also slice up a red onion, put them in the pot, and then we'll start working with the meat. Didn't mention it earlier, but we chopped up a jalapeno for this as well. Now I'm gonna add it to a 5-quart cast iron Dutch oven. We'll get to the meat. For our meat, we're going with 2.5 pounds, 80/20 ground beef. If you have brisket trimmings, that would be great. I'm all out. I love making sausage, and that's where a lot of my brisket trim goes to. But 80/20 ground beef works just fine for this. Then we're gonna also add in a 9-ounce tube of all beef chorizo. So we've got that in our pot here, and then I'm using Meat Church's chili, Texas chili seasoning. Use whatever seasoning you like for this. I have that and it's really good. So it's 4 tablespoons per pound of meat. We've got a little over 3 pounds of meat here. I'm gonna go in with 8 tablespoons, and then we'll put the remaining seasoning that we're short in with our vegetables that we just chopped up. So gonna get this mixed in here with this meat, then thoroughly mix it. Once we've thoroughly mixed it, we're gonna create it into like a big old meatball. And that meatball is what's gonna be the over-the-top portion of this chili. It's gonna sit on a wire rack above the vegetables, drip down into it as it cooks, get some nice smoky goodness into it. So I'm gonna mix this up, get it formed into a meatball. Be right back. Last thing to do for our veggies is add 1 can Hot Rotel and then 1 can green chili enchilada sauce. Add those in. And then we'll add 4 more tablespoons of the Meat Church chili seasoning. Give this a mix. Now it's time to go fire up the pit. All right, so we've got the Mini Chub Box Pro fired up. Feel free to use whatever cooker you want. This thing's awesome, but as mentioned earlier, it started on a Big Green Egg. You can do it on a pellet grill. Heck, even a gas grill would work with some wood chips to add a little smoke. So we've got this fired up. I'm gonna go grab our meat and veggies and show you how we put this over-the-top chili together. Okay, to put this together, we are gonna go ahead and put our veggies right there. Put a wire rack just right over the top and take our meatball and rest it right on top. So as this cooks, fat renders out, juices, drippings render out. It's gonna go straight into this pot and just be a plethora of flavor. So we're gonna let this cook 300 degrees until the meatball hits 150 to 160 internal. Once it does that, we'll crumble it up into the veggies and let it cook some more as it reduces down. For now, let's get this meatball cooked up. 3.5 hours later, our meatball is at a little over 150 degrees. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this wire rack off and crumble this meatball into the liquid. All right, so we're just gonna crumble this on in. Meat's crumbled up. Gonna add a Shiner Bock to the mix. Gonna break the meat a little bit, stir this all, combine everything together. And you probably noticed when I was making the chili, but there's no beans in this. I live in Texas. Most everybody I've met in Texas does not like beans in their chili, my Texas born and raised wife included. If you want beans in it, feel free to. You can add as many beans as you'd like. I'm in Texas, my wife doesn't like beans, so this chili's not gonna have beans in it. So we're gonna close this down, let this simmer up, and be back once it's thickened up and ready to eat. 1 hour later, and this is done. Gonna pull it off the pit, let it cool down for a bit, and then we'll dive in. One thing you'll notice about this chili after it's rested for a little bit, or even while it's cooking for that matter, is that it'll have a decent amount of fat floating on the top of it. So what I like to do after it's rested for a little bit is just skim a good portion of that off. It's not like another chili where you might brown the meat first, drain the fat, then start cooking other things. This one, because of the meatball, it's just dripping down in there. And while fat is flavor, you can have a little too much. So what I like to do as the chili is cooling off after we pull it off the pit, just skim the fat periodically, mix it up every now and then, and once it's looking good, it's time to dig in. Chili has had a good rest. We've skimmed some fat, so now it's time to assemble our bowl. Gonna start out with a couple of scoops of our chili. Sprinkle on some fresh red onion, some homemade pickled jalapenos, freshly grated cheddar cheese, and a little dollop of sour cream. So there we have it. Over the top chili. Gonna give it a nice little mix here. Some of the cheese and onions and jalapenos and sour cream incorporated. Now let's dive in. Cheers. It really is the best chili I've ever had. If you've not had it, I can't recommend trying this out enough. It's got a great smoky flavor. It's rich. The meat church seasoning is great, but again, if you don't have it, any other packet seasonings will do just fine, or make your own even better. But the smokiness it takes on, it's got some spice, the jalapeno, the bell peppers, the onions, the chorizo, the ground beef, just dripping over the veggies for that period of time. It just makes a massive difference in the flavor. It can't be replicated on a stovetop. So if you've got an egg, if you've got a direct heat cooker like a Chud Box, if you got a pellet grill, if you got a gas grill, just give this a try. I promise you won't be disappointed. It's worth the effort. And it's really not that much effort because it's a one-pot meal. Just slice everything up, put the meatball on top. Once it hits 150, 160, crumble it up, put it in, let it rest, drain some fat, fix it how you like it, and eat it. This definitely is a winner. You need to give it a go. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, please subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.